Podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Danilo is free, and it goes to Gibbs-White.
First time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do. Tyler one, he scores! And the City ground goes ballistic! And he's through here! And in the end, Forrest will say it doesn't matter how you play as long as you win it. Yeah! Forest Sale, Premier League!
Hello and welcome to this latest edition of Red Side Le Trent, where we come to you for our last one of 2023, and we sign off with a jubilant 2-1 victory over Manchester United, Forest's first victory against the Red Devils since 1995 and first at home, I think, in 31 years or something obscene. No more. We have a full house here at Red Side Le Trent, as I'm joined by Adam Wicklow, Reiss Lane and Lee Clark. And chaps, let's dive in. So Lee, we'll start with you, we'll start with the team. There are two changes. Obviously, Yates came in for Sangare. We all knew Sangare was going to be out because he's suspended. But the more surprising one, I think, was Nicholas Dominguez coming on the left wing for Hudson-Odoi, which we were all very confused by. We weren't sure whether we changed formation. We weren't sure Gibbs-White was back on the wing. We weren't sure whether Danilo was going to play on the left. Ultimately, it turned out to be Dominguez. But what did you make of those two changes?
Yeah, I think, as you say, we were going to always have one change. I think everyone anticipated it'd be Mangala coming back in. But again, as we said on the last pod, it's 3 games in such a short space of time. And of all the outfield players we've got, I think Mangala's probably played more minutes than most. So probably just monitoring his game time with a bit of caution. I think personally he put Dominguez in purely because of his work rate. I think he knew that we'd probably have to match United off the ball. Certainly not give them any kind of real impetus to go forward and get Rashford involved with his pace. So I think putting him there, he's probably just a little bit busier than Mangala. But yeah, it was a bit intriguing that he was kind of utilised more on the left. But yeah, it worked for us. So it's one of those things. I think another thing as well is the other winger we've got is Hudson-Odoi. Obviously, he's just come back from injury as well. Was it a little bit too quick to ask him to play from the off again? Possibly that was in his thinking as well. So yeah, it was probably an intriguing one, but thankfully it was one that came off for us.
Definitely, yeah. I do kind of wonder whether that was sort of done with the idea that United might be starting Højlund up front, and it would be either Garnacho or it would be Garnacho in that case against Dominguez, Argentinian. But obviously it turned out that it'd be Anthony on the right against Dominguez, which is probably good news for Dominguez, really. Had very little to do, really. But Reiss, the first half sort of passed by without much incident, really. Not a lot happens. I mean, obviously Dominguez had a shot that was blocked, well blocked by Varane. I suppose Varane nearly had scored an own goal, or ish. It looped off his left eye. I guess United had one shot on target that was deflected. It wasn't really going to trouble Turner. It was very sort of solid first half. It was like a chess match, but in the second half, it did start to open up. Obviously, United took Mainu off for McTominay, and we started to be a bit bolder, and naturally some space opened up as a result of that. I suppose one of the key flashpoints being when, I'm glad you mentioned it before we went on air actually, was when Gibbs-White was very clearly fouled right in front of the lines when nothing happens. Retaliates by flying into McTominay, retaliates again by flying into Evans, winning the ball on both occasions, and then gets booked for his troubles. But what did you make of that incident? And at that point, were you a little worried that we'd had another ref that maybe lost control?
Yeah, I'll start with the first half. It was very much the analogy of kind of the first round of a boxing match, wasn't it? Both kind of boxers were weighing each other up and seeing what each was going to offer. And from our perspective, it was kind of like I saw United's defence as being quite rickety in that first half. I mean, the Varane error was very lucky not to put out in his own goal. I mean, a lack of communication. I think there was a couple of times where other times as well, there was lacks of communication with Onana. So it was kind of, you thought it was there for the taking for us if we exploited it a bit more, which we obviously did second half. But coming on to that instant, yeah, it seemed just a basic foul, didn't it, to us, which the linesman hasn't given. I mean, what is the linesman 2 yards away? Not gave it because, yeah, it's Man United. And then, yeah, I mean, he's won the ball in both tackles. I mean, like I said before, we come on to any slide tackle now with any form of aggression seems to be a sin, doesn't it, on social media? We've kind of gone down that road, unfortunately. And he's ended up getting himself booked. I mean, in that melee, you're kind of a bit concerned that it's going to overstep the mark and he gets sent off, but thankfully he didn't. And yeah, I mean, the referee, you always get niggly things where, with it being a Big Six team, it goes their way. I mean, we'll come on to the stoppage time and things like that, but he was probably one of the better ones because, to be honest, he didn't really have much to do, did he? He didn't really have any real big decisions to make, I'd say, personally.
No, he didn't, but I did sort of. It felt like, as soon as United went a goal down, which come on to very shortly.
The ref give him a little bit of a helping hand, don't they? It's just how it isn't it, in the Premier League? We all know what it's like. So
I think the one that got me was in the first half when Evans, Evans slid to took the ball out for a throw in, and the referee gave a foul, literally no contact whatsoever.
Any kind of little. Any finger in the back for us on their players, it was a blowing up and a foul, wasn't it? And like we've just said, the Gibbs-White one, it looked like he got clearly fouled. I mean, I know we were quite a long way away. Probably Lee would be better to say that, and the ref didn't give it. So
I was really close, and I've been collecting Man United tears for them because they're like, we should have been sent off. Three fouls in one go. That it's just because they'd absolutely kill for a player to have some level of commitment.
That's just social media people who don't know what they're talking about for you, thinking that's anything but a yellow. But that's social media for you.
I quite liked Gibbs-White's little spin away from
it's
very Michael Jackson-esque.
Playing that awful sport, what is NFL? So we'll move on because I don't want to get abused by Adam and others.
Yeah, do you want to pop up something or?
Yeah, I was just going to say, for me, that whole incident was caused by the lino. There was no foul in there either way for me. I was literally right on top of that. There's no foul either way, and you certainly can't go giving a defensive one when you've not given the one on Gibbs-White. And I think the whole chaos that ensued for the next 5-10 minutes after that was all caused by the lino getting involved. He just didn't need to do anything. He just needed to give the goal kick and go with the next decision, or let the game flow if it didn't go out. I can't remember if it went out or not. But
this is what we mean about. This is what we mean about just officials helping themselves, and they do make it difficult for themselves at times. I think that was one of them incidences, but that applies.
Yeah, although what I will say is that it did sort of fire up Forest. Like, on FM when you said the fire up chant, the shout, I think that instance sort of did it for ourselves. Like, he didn't have to do it. And lo and behold, Adam, not long after that, we got the Argentina link up that we all sort of hoped we might get at some point, and to great effect.
Yeah, I mean, we got away with one with Dallo crashing the ball against the post just before as well. But no, great. I think patient build up, actually, weirdly enough. I think we was kind of like, we were going between Niakhate, Yates, Murillo was kind of moving Man United about. And I've been quite critical of Ryan Yates in terms of his technical ability, but the pass he makes out towards Elanga initially to take Garnacho completely out the game is brilliant. And then Elanga, another one we've been critical of his passing as well at times, but although he's got it right in the last couple of games, great pass inside to Montiel, who's gone on the underlap, and he's, again, Michael Jackson-esque spin, finds Dominguez, who's drifted in from that left-hand side, which is probably something that Nuno may be seen as a weakness, where players aren't being tracked, and it's an easy sweeping finish for Nico Dominguez. And I mean, he's lacked a lot of confidence the last few weeks, obviously since that West Ham howler, but he was excellent yesterday and he took his goal really well. I think getting rid of the blonde hair has also helped his cause. But yeah, no, great way to go in front, and a really good goal. I mean, United fans have said all the goals were a gift. I think the only goal that was a gift was the one that we gave them, which we'll get onto, obviously. And I feel like you've decided to be the host today because you're sick of talking about Matt Turner.
No. It's just, I thought I'd give you a say a bit more. But it was quite interesting with Matchday. Obviously, they highlighted that when McTominay came on, he basically stopped tracking back and leaving a massive gaping hole in the middle of the park, because we exploited it a few times, even in the first half, which Murphy picked up on, which is quite fascinating. But how nice is it to see a midfielder run into the box and try and get a shot away? Like, that just wasn't happening before. How nice is it to see a midfielder actually try and come in late and get a shot on goal?
That's been happening the last few games, hasn't it, now, since Nuno's took over? It's been a nice change. It was something that Cooper was doing before and he completely went away from. And that's probably something that's really hindered him. So, no, really good that we've identified a weakness. I mean, people identify McTominay as someone that's going to sit. He was a striker in the academy at Man United. People don't realise that. He's not going to track anyone. So them taking off Kobe Mino was a complete mishap of what they were doing, because he was the one sitting. So strange from Ten Hag. He just shot himself in the foot completely.
Glazer's fault.
Yeah, completely the Glazers' fault. Every time they lose,
blame it on
the owners.
Yeah. Leaky Roof FC was clearly at fault for that one, as Gary Neville would say. But Lee, I mean, not long after that, I mean, United did sort of threaten. I mean, I this is my memory playing up. I thought that they hit the post after we scored, not before. But I'm pretty sure it was after. Was it after?
Hit the post at 0-0, didn't they?
Yeah, before 0-0, mate.
Oh, was it 0-0? Oh,
Yeah,
my bad. I must
yeah.
have got
Great
muddled up
strike as
completely.
well.
Yeah, it was a brilliant strike from Dalot. But obviously, yeah, United did threaten after that, and then, but not really with much conviction. I still felt like we were sort of keeping them at arm's length up until, a very stupid back pass from Turner. I mean, I'm sick of talking about him, so I'll let you sort of discuss the goal. But yeah,
brilliant. Cheers for that.
It's still be Reiss who gets this, so it's got to be someone else's turn now.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're just going around in circles, aren't we? It's every podcast. I mean, I'll try and bring some balance to it. I thought Turner's handling yesterday was absolutely outstanding. The catch he came for that was practically on the penalty spot. Do you know, it's really strange, because as soon as that ball got lofted forward, I can't remember who it was who lofted it forward, I saw where the ball was going, and I saw that Turner had called for it, and I never for 1 minute thought he wouldn't catch it. It was a really outstanding catch, to be fair. And he did that all afternoon. But every time he's got the ball at his feet, he scares you to death. And we've never had a keeper that puts frightens the living daylights out of you like he does when he's got the ball at his feet. It's like I always think if you're not sure about your kicking, just punt it long down the pitch. And especially 1-0 up with 14 minutes left, or 14 minutes of normal time plus the Fergie time to come. But you just manage the game, and it was soul destroying. I don't think I've ever been quite so disappointed to see us concede a goal, because obviously everyone's desperate to beat Man U, aren't they? Because it's Man U and they're often insufferable. So yeah, I can't even. Paul Robinson probably hit the nail on the head from the bits that I've seen. He just tries to be too clever. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, if you're going to play a little intricate pass like that, it's got to be to one of the fullbacks. You can't be doing that down the middle of the pitch. And yeah, it was just soul destroying. And what I would say is, I don't really condone the booing the next time he got the ball. I don't think that was helpful at all. I mean, I know that some have been a bit like arsey, for want of a better phrase, over the reaction when the ball went in the net. But what are Forest fans supposed to do when that sort of thing happened? You vent with your voices, and it was a real bad error. And I mean, how many times is Turner going to do that same thing? So yeah, it was disappointing, but well, I would imagine he'd have been buying Morgan Gibbs-White a very big pint after the game.
Yeah, or about 10. I mean, I think that's it. It was weird. Like I've never. I mean, I've been watching Forest since 1999. I've never in my life. I've heard them sing like, you're not fit to wear the shirt. I've heard them scream all sorts of abuse to individual players or whatever else. Never in my life have I heard a player get booed on touch by his own fans. That was quite something to see when it came back to Turner that first time afterwards. And well, yeah, I kind of like, again, we've all seen the sort of fracas on Twitter with other people, and I kind of get both sides. I mean, realistically, like, it's very obvious. Forest can't progress the football club with him in goal. We can't. I mean, we might as well get this over and done with now. We cannot progress with him in goal, because we need to buy a new goalkeeper. It's a matter of urgency if it isn't going to be Lacademus, because it's just, there's no point. It's not working. He's not up to it. But booing your own players, God.
I mean, what was impressive was the one where he kicked the ball into the air and then caught it. I mean, I asked Lee what the ruling on that was, because obviously it wasn't on purpose, but it was hilarious at the same time. Like, you have to laugh at it in hindsight, because we got away with it.
It was what they said on Sky, wasn't it? It was an accident waiting to happen all night. They hit the nail on the head. It was coming. I mean, how many did he put out of play? How many did that one way fingered into the air? I was like, oh my God. It was just obvious it was going to happen. And to be honest, a confident goalkeeper, like when we had Samba, who was good with his feet, I wouldn't mind them playing that pass to Danilo because it would have broke through their attack. But when you're underconfident and bad with your feet, that was such a risky pass. And we literally had United in the palm of his hand at 1-0. They would not have scored in a million years. They offered very little. I mean, Rashford, that was his first touch in our box, the goal. He offered absolutely nothing, Rashford. But that's the difference in it at this level. A player of that quality, you give him one chance, puts it straight in the corner. But I will as well be to be fair to Turner, because he could have just gone into his shell, couldn't he? He was actually really good after the mistake. He came out, like Lee said several times. He made a pretty bog standard save, I'd say, from Eriksen. I know people were extrapolating that up, but that was a save I'd expect every goalkeeper in the Prem to make. But the one from the absolute incredible strike from Bruno Fernandes, where he got deflected and turned over, that was a decent save. So it would have been very easy for him to have stayed on his line and kind of just, gone into his shell. So fair play to him in that sense for overcoming that. But yeah, mine and Christian's views have been on this podcast for quite a few weeks. The kicking element is just so poor that it's overtaking everything else, unfortunately, and it's something that needs addressing. I mean, Nuno will probably stick Vlachodimos in goal, won't he, against Blackpool, so it will give him a chance to see him, although we're hoping he won't have much to do in that game.
Well, yeah, that'd be a dream, yeah. But I mean, you might be looking at things like distribution for that element, because realistically, you're right, he shouldn't be. I mean, I've noticed for Forest under Nuno now, we sort of do, we can't break through. We'll gladly move all the way back, and it goes to the keeper, and he'll pick a pass and switch to play. So I suspect that in the Blackpool game, he'll be looking at how he does in that element, because obviously it's very clear that if you're going to be a keeper in Nuno's system, you got to kick the ball well. So that'll be quite fascinating to see. But obviously, Reiss, we obviously. 4 minutes after that, and this was good because normally, as we've so used to, we probably all expected Forest to just crumble completely and just like implode at that point. But 4 minutes later, we dust ourselves down. Turner actually makes a save, I think, from Eriksen, although it's pretty routine.
He did, yeah.
You'd expect
that was the one I was on about. Yeah.
You would expect most Premier
League. I've seen a couple of people saying that was going to be a certain goal. I mean, it wasn't pretty bog standard save. It was a good strike.
If he let that in, he'd be up there and then.
It was a good strike. Hit it cleanly, didn't he, Eriksen? But I'd expect pretty much any EFL keeper to be saving that, to be honest.
Definitely. But what comes after is pretty special. Obviously, Yates carried it about 65 yards up the pitch, just like an ocean. Just parted like the Red Sea, just ran straight through. And then, Elanga sort of gets one against his old club, and Gibbs-White gets one against his boyhood club.
Yeah, I mean, when, like I said just then, I thought we had United in the palm of his hand, and when it did go to 1-1, you thought, here we go, this is going to be typical Forest, snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, and we're going to get beat 2-1. It's going to kind of kickstart Man United into life, which thankfully it didn't really, because like you say, 4 minutes later, we ended up scoring. I mean, yeah, as you say, Ryan Yates is running through and literally no one's within 20, 30 yards of him, really, isn't he? He just kind of allowed him to run. And then the match of the day analysis was interesting on this, because Wan-Bissaka has just gone back into position rather than going to Gibbs-White. So I think Evans and Varane have both gone to Wood, and Wan-Bissaka's just gone back into his position, which has left Gibbs-White at the edge of the area completely free. And I mean, how many times have we seen them chances just spooned over the bar? I mean, he hit it perfectly, didn't he? He used, I'm not sure which play it was, he used as a marker to bend it round. I'm guessing it may be Evans, possibly, because he was on that side. And yeah, there's no chance for the goalkeeper. It was a brilliant finish. And it's something we've said with Gibbs-White. He needs to probably chip in with a few more goals. He needs to improve his finishing. I mean, that was an excellent finish, a world-class finish, let's be honest. And it was fully what we deserved. I thought we fully deserved to win the game, and I'd been gutted if it had finished 1-1 on the back of a mistake from us again. Yeah, we fully deserved it, and that just put the cherry on the top of what's been a brilliant Christmas for us, because I don't think many Forest fans in the wildest dreams would have thought they'd have gone to Newcastle away and had Man United at home and beat both playing well as well, I'd have to say.
No, I would agree with that. Yeah, it was weird, because you felt like, even as slow as the first half was, probably for a neutral, Like, so I looked at my phone at half time, and like my mates were saying, like, "God, it's a tough watch, isn't it?" But like, you can see that we clearly had a plan. We were trying to we were switching from side to side. We couldn't get down the flanks. We tried through the middle. If that wasn't on, we try and work our way back and start again. It was very obvious what Forest were trying to do, but in a good way, not a predictable way. It was very much like, oh, okay, you can see what their game plan is. You can see how they're going to try and get United, which is something that we maybe haven't had for a fair while. So that was quite pleasing. But then going back to this game, obviously Adam. Obviously, Alex Ferguson calls it a favour with Manchester-based official Anthony Taylor. And although you could be forgiven for thinking that Ten Hag was Anthony Taylor on the touchline, given he was so far out of his technical box, it was a joke. I actually looked at him and thought he was Anthony Taylor a few times. I was like, what's he doing over there? But out of nowhere, 10 minutes comes from. And I know you've tried to justify this to me, but I've had a look again. Rashford's down for about 2 minutes. There's 3 goals, called out another 2 minutes. The VAR check was done in that time as well. And as all the subs, okay, call it another 2 minutes. It should have been no more than 6. Where have they got 10 minutes from, aside from the fact it's Manchester United Football Club?
They may as well just put until Man U score on the scoreboard on the board, shouldn't they? But yeah, I try to justify it in terms of finding like a bit of a solution and be a bit more of a detective for the referees. But I have no idea. But we held out really well. I got nervous, obviously. I was quite happy for them to just pump the ball in the box because Niakhate and Murillo and anyone else was kind of just dealing with everything that was coming our way. And then it was unfortunate that Gibbs-White got a bit of a knock and was like running around on one leg for half of it. I mean, he said afterwards that he was struggling, but he'll be all right, sort of thing. So that's good. Yeah, no idea where they got 10 from, but I'm glad we held out. We held out strong. Bit nervous when Christian Eriksen had a chance towards the end, and obviously the Bruno chance that Reiss has already spoke about was a good tip over the bar because it was going already one way, and Turner was already moving one way and managed to get a hand up. Although a lot of people have told me that's a routine save, I'm not sure if it is or not. I'm not a goalkeeper, but yeah, no, I'm glad we held out. We seem to have a bit of a different approach over the last couple of games where we don't seem to be making too many mistakes, giving teams a chance to get back into things. So that was good to see. And obviously the scenes at the end were brilliant.
I was going to say, yeah, 11 minutes there. Obviously, of course, it wasn't a full 10 minutes. You know, like you said, play till United score. But I think after Eriksen chance, even the referee was like, right, that's enough. And yeah,
what about the misery?
Rocking all over the world. The place just can't get enough. What's your thoughts on that, chaps? I think personally it's a good idea. I think that, sort of keep that to the Cooper reign and move on with new stuff. But what do you think? It's open floor.
I enjoyed it. Reiss?
Well, I prefer that song. Just can't get enough. I'm not a massive fan of Just Can't Get Enough. The Depeche Mode aren't really for me. I prefer rocking all over the world.
A little birdie told me, Reiss, that the Saturdays version of Just Can't Get Enough is your favourite. Yeah.
Well, would you prefer the Saturdays or Depeche Mode?
Diabolical.
Molly King.
I mean, it was go on, I do like that song. I think that song's really good. But I mean, come on, Steve Cooper didn't create Depeche Mode.
Yeah, I agree.
I do see both sides of it. I think I was talking to Rob about it yesterday, and he said that he thinks it's a good idea if you imagine like a time capsule and you box everything that was associated with Steve Cooper up. Yeah, I do get that, but come on, it's just a song, and that song became kind of symbolic with a win, didn't it? So, but to be fair, you can't argue with the scenes with that song. So it's just a song at the end of the day. It's not that deep, I suppose, is it?
Yeah, it's something kind of Forest do. I mean, if you look at the video before the game, I mean, when we sold Brennan Johnson, there was literally no sign of him in it. When really he's kind of gone with his best wishes, Anthony. Like obviously Cooper was in that video, he's now no longer in it. I think it's very much of a case from Forest, and I do get it. You have to move on with life. That is life. So they probably want a fresh start, and probably don't want people associating that song with Steve and that. So yeah, it don't bother me. It was just I'm in the business of winning football games. I just want to see Forest win games, whether that's Nuno as manager or Martin O'Neill as manager. Just want to win games.
I love how O'Neill's the go-to reference for bad.
I know, because
teams like Preston all over again.
Yeah, he was just the one I gave them probably the most grief on to say from my perspective. No, Gary Megson, there's another.
Yeah, I did notice actually what was quite good. They also did the best goals of 2023. And I don't know if you've ever read like the Secret Footballer books or anything like that, but I think it's like, spoiler alert. It's very evidently Dave Kitson, and apparently he said he scored a goal against because he fell out of Pulis so badly at Stoke. He said that he scored a goal that was like it was nominated for goal of the month on Match of the Day, but because he'd fallen out with Pulis, it wasn't even put on the video at the end of the year. It was sort of like completely ignored. So it was quite pleasing to see Johnson's goals against Leicester and Leeds sort of feature on that video before the game. Sort of like say like we're not fully petty, but anyway.
Yeah, well, he's gone with his best wishes, hasn't he? Really,
that's it. Yeah, and hopefully, well, Spurs' issues now anyway. So we're going to move on to some slept on it thoughts.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
I think one of my New Year's resolutions is to take that video and sort of put the volume down a touch. Deafen everyone. But anyway, we'll start off. Deck Parsons, Niakhate phenomenal, and finally Gibbs-White showing that quality to score himself a goal. Hopefully that allows him to continue and step up. Dave Bullen said some fantastic performances. Montiel, Gibbs-White, Elanga, Yates, and man of the match Niakhate standouts. Love the pressing in the middle third and the pace of passing. The biggest two areas of change, in my opinion. What a result. Lee Chilver says, great team performance. Yes, Turner's kicking is letting him down, but please acknowledge his shot stopping kept us to 3 points. Thought man of the match could have been Niakhate, Montiel, Gibbs-White, Yates or Danilo. Let's applaud Nuno for game plan and not showing or playing a low block against a poor United team. Sammy Slack said, we dominated United, that's insane. Gibbs-White is like a new signing now in his position. Thought Yates and Niakhate were class and Montiel had another top game. You Reds. Jeff Rose says, Matt Turner needs to be the first to go in January, redeem himself after their equaliser, but did no more than you expect every half-decent goalkeeper to do. I think I agree with that, to be fair. An absolute liability. Gibbs-White and Yates were absolutely brilliant. Yummy Bear just says, Forest all over the world, and I'll leave it at that. Osh Jones says, completely new team. We look unrecognisable. Fantastic from 2 to 11. Yeah, the obvious one omission. Striker and goalkeeper in January with Golden. Premier Elliott said, my mum's first game's 2-0 Spurs Cup win. She's an odd, lucky charm. Felt Turner played well after his howler, but no longer have confidence in him. The whole team worked so well, and Gibbs-White deserved that goal. Happy New Year, Red Side, and keep up the good work. Oh, thank you, Elliott. Alex says, slept on it thoughts. Surprised anyone will be sleeping after that. Murillo and Niakhate are the steady centre-back partnering we've been crying out for. We've nabbed United's best attacker for 15 million. Montiel's become a must-keep, and in desperate need of a decent goalkeeper because Turner isn't up to it. James Goose says, incredible result. Made United look ordinary thanks to a brilliant all-round performance. And if it wasn't for Turner making his mandatory howler every game, it's a clean sheet. However, did do well to redeem himself in the last 10. Still think a keeper is a must for Jan. Jan Stab says, we look composed, deliberate, progressive, front-footed, confident, aggressive. You can see the tactics. Shape gets the most from our squad. We look like a Prem side. Unbelievable 6 points this week. There is an asterisk after composed. He's put down, aside from Turner, that is, with an unhappy face. And Carl Booth has gone, to a man, fantastic. Hunger in his eye and quality on the ball. Turner's distribution is awful. He's a complete liability, but he's got some nuts on him to pull that save out of the bag to get us over the line. Loads of United fans in P blocks. Sad to see that. That's a bit annoying, actually. Capacity and Function said that could be a transformational win. How many times have Forest been the team other sides find form against? Not today. Bar Turner's howler, we look comfortable. While with that fluidity up front, we were efficient in their box when it mattered and looked like a Prem team at last. And last but not least, this is Kev. He says, Nuno got us playing on the front foot and looking like a team that can keep going and score goals. Wood didn't score, but kept the United defence busy, which gave space for others to attack their box. Great team performance, and how good was Gibbs-White? Round pegs in round holes at last. Billy Davis will like that one. All right, thank you all for getting your Slept on It thoughts in. Obviously, can't read them all out as there's quite a lot, but much appreciated. And we're going to move on to some player performances. So, Lee, I'll start with you. Gonzalo Montiel was your one. And I think, like we were saying in the chat last night, if he's been there this whole time, you've sort of made a ride for your own back, really, given how well he's played these last 2 games.
Yeah, I think it's of detriment to Steve Cooper, sadly, the way he's played the last 2 games. I mean, we hear all sorts of stories in the press, don't we, about certain players coming in against the head coach's wishes and that sort of stuff. But ultimately, like we've all said on this pod before, you're a head coach because you don't have quite such a big say on what players you get given. And I think to be given a World Cup winner and a player who's produced that level of performance in the last 2 games and not use him is absolutely bonkers, because he's been absolutely brilliant in both. I don't think he's without his flaws, but I think when you're a club like ours in the Premier League, you're not going to sign a player that's completely polished. I think he's quite small for a fullback, isn't he? So if you're coming up against a team with sizable wingers, that might be an area where he struggles. But I thought he coped with everything that United threw at him yesterday with aplomb, to be honest. And going forward, he looks good as well. He seems really intelligent to find pockets of space going forward, which is always. Whereas like someone like Williams, he kind of uses his pace to burst past players. I think Montiel kind of just picks his moment and waits for the chance to run in the space. So yeah, I think probably a Cooper mistake, that one. I think that he's not been playing, because I think everyone will be kind of hoping that we can keep hold of him now, because he looks head and shoulders above anything else that's played at right back this season, I think.
It's weird, isn't it? I mean, like you said, a couple of weeks ago, you looked pretty set to go back to Sevilla and no one really cared. Now it's sort of like, hopefully that's still not the case, because, like I said on the last body, it gives me like, it's Ren and Noddy vibes of him, and he started off pretty poorly and sort of grown into it a bit. Obviously, his Burnley game was a bit of a disaster, then who wasn't a disaster that day? But the last 2 games, he's just been so good, and like he's just very intelligent. The way he keeps the ball as well, the way he finds his feet, like he doesn't just risk play for the sake of it. He normally keeps, if it's a forward pass, he'll find feet. If it's nothing on, he'll gladly recycle it and go backwards. I think that's a sign of a really good player. I know it sounds very fundamental and basic, but you can have people just like all just bang it up the line regardless, and just assume that's a forward attacking play. But no, I was very impressed with Montiel yesterday.
I think as well. I think it's one of them things where, like, when Cooper left, some people were really like almost breaking their neck to say that it's nothing to do with whoever manages this squad's not good enough. The players aren't good enough. Look at some of the rubbish he's been given, like Montiel and Tavares. I mean, if Tavares is that good as well, he's going to probably leave and go somewhere else, and he'll probably rip it up, because he's another one that's been signed, and everyone's kind of dismissed it as a really poor signing when he's played a game. 2 games maybe. I mean, I just think it was such an excuse, and it like you've said before on this podcast, Christian, when you almost kind of proved right. I know it's only 2 wins, but we've beat Newcastle and Man U, and one of the changes he has made is to bring a player in that's not even been making match day squads. There's nothing wrong with this squad for where we want to finish this season, I don't think, and I've said that all along. The squad was lacking ideas, and it was ideas from the dugout for me. And I just think he's not made major changes, but that is one area that he's identified and probably looked at and thought, why have I got a World Cup winner, making cups of tea on a match day? It's just ridiculous. Get him in the team and get him playing. So, yeah, like I said at the top of my answer to this player performance, it's of detriment to Cooper, I'm afraid, Montiel.
No, definitely. Yeah, I think that's exactly the way it looks. It's just like you said before, if he had his time again, I'm sure he'd make a few different decisions. Maybe that'd be one of them. But yeah, anyway, Reiss, your player is one hot topic for us for many weeks, many pods over many years now. In Ryan Yates, in that I thought someone summed it up pretty well. That you got the Forest captain who's giving everything, winning duels, intercepting, heading the lot, and you've got the Man United captain sulking, handcuffing himself to the ref and crying left, right, and centre. They couldn't be poles apart, really, could they?
No. Annoyingly, I always say to people, when United are behind, get your money on a Bruno card, which is literally what I did in play last night. He didn't get booked, annoyingly. I mean, when Christian Eriksen lost his head right at the end, it was actually Bruno dragging him away, which really annoyed me, because it's usually in where his head goes. But can I compliment Ryan Yates without bringing another player down? But which I'm going to do. But yeah, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. As you say, Christian, interceptions. I thought his reading of the play to be in the right positions was a lot better than usual. Just his composure on the ball a lot better as well. I just thought his all-round game. I mean, we know his strengths. He's hassling and he's getting stuck in, but I just thought his all-round game was so much better last night. I don't know whether that's because, and this is no detriment to him, I mean, United gave us a lot of freedom in that sentiment, but he kept seeming to find pockets of where to be, and yeah, I thought he was excellent. It was a real captain's performance, and the second goal, he's drove 20-30 yards up the pitch, which is something we very rarely see from Yatesy. But yeah, I thought he was excellent. I generally can't I can't praise him enough on last night's performance. He was probably, up until the last few moments, probably my man of the match. I just had to go for Niakhate in case, I'm not going to say any more on him in case you give it to Adam. But yeah, a really good performance. And that's without bringing any other players into it and putting them down as well, which seems to be a bit of a theme on social media when some players do well, which is a real shame, but it is what it is.
I mean, to sort of maybe be hypocritical in that regards. I mean, Yates is just putting a perfect captain's performance, whereas a certain person sat at home who walked out on his team on the day of a game. But we'll move
Well, I hope
swiftly
he's
on.
apologised for that, Worrell.
He
You know, we
wants to
all
have
do
done.
things out of frustration, and if he's apologised, and at the end of the day, football's a very fickle game, in it. We move on. We have to move on. That's how it
Hopefully the
goes.
club do move on from him as well. But Adam, I'm going to give you Danilo, because I felt that for the first time in a long time, I know he's had a bit of a stop-start season, Danilo, but I thought yesterday he was really, really good. You know, obviously, like I felt constantly bad from this season because like it's felt like we haven't really known where to play him. He got up to speeds against Chelsea. He looked really good at Chelsea away. Then got injured, came back, wasn't quite the same. In and out of the team again. First half at Newcastle was not good by any stretch of the imagination. But from minute 46 from Newcastle to the end of the game yesterday, that's the Danilo that we all grew and loved from last season.
I'm actually quite glad you've gave me Danilo, because I was going to touch on what Reiss was just saying about Yates. Joe, when you like looked at the lineup and you wasn't sure whether Danilo was going to play out wide, Dominguez was going to play there, was going to Shaw, Gibbs-White, we was all thinking, oh, come on now, Nuno, you found where Gibbs-White plays, just play him in the 10 and we'll be fine, which he did, thankfully. And you kind of think, well, who's going to control the midfield? Because we've not playing Mangala, and we've kind of come to the conclusion that maybe we're managing Mangala's minutes. And he came on, obviously, got booked straight away, but luckily that's the cut-off has now happened. I think Sky have mentioned that Lee might be able to help on that one. I think it's cut off. That's what Sky have said. That's what some of my friends have said. But no, I thought Danilo actually did really well. I thought he controlled the game along with Yates and the others really, really well. He got stuck in. He knew where to be. He was composed. There was a ball in the first half that he played to Elanga with, I think it was his right foot, just like got it out of his feet, just pinged it. And I was like, bloody hell, he's back. So yeah, no, I think the whole stadium giving the Danilo chant probably gave him a lift. I think he thrives off that kind of that atmosphere as well. And probably having a Portuguese speaking manager probably helps as well. Probably can tell him, oh, this is where I play, this is what I want to do, this is where you'll get the best out of me. And I mean, I don't want to be harsh on Cooper, I don't want to keep putting in the mud, but like maybe that lost in translation thing can happen, although Danilo was really good at the back of last season. But if we can get that form back for the second half, which coincided with this time of year last year, wasn't it? Where he came in the January and was really excellent towards the end. Then we know what kind of player we've got on our hands. So hopefully, I know he's going away with Brazil for a pre-Olympic tournament. Why are they doing that? I have no idea. It's like may as well like a fake draw of the FA Cup or whatever, or champion. That's just stupid. But yeah, no, it's a shame that he played really well. And now he's going to go away for a short period of time.
Yeah, that is a real shame that, but it's just so good to see him. I think obviously like he's only 21, 22. He's got such a bright future, Danilo. I just think like if you can add some consistency to his game, we've got a real player there. And I saw a few very skeptical that he'd be trusted to be the sort of the playmaking option from midfield, but I think last night sort of proved that he's more than able to do that. And yeah, long may it continue. Lee, I'm going to give you the best on earth, Morgan Gibbs-White.
Oh, I seem to get Gibbs-White all the time. People must be sick of hearing me talk about Gibbs-White. Yeah, he was very good again. Funnily enough, it's weird because obviously from where I sit in the Upper Trent, I had quite a good view of Gibbs-White going into that space, and everyone was just screaming at Elanga to pass him the ball. But then you're almost kind of thinking, well, he's in loads of space, but he doesn't usually score from there. It just looked like the right pass, but it was dead weird because as soon as the ball went to him, just watching how he was setting himself, you just didn't think he was ever going to miss. And I just think, I mean, people have called Vlachodimos a ghost in the Forest goal when he plays, but I genuinely think Onana's a bit like that. He just doesn't seem to stop anything. And it was one of them where I thought, get it on target and just make the keeper actually do something. And watching the replay back, he just uses Evans perfect as like a little training ground dummy, I guess, to just block the keeper's sight and just curl it into the near post. So yeah, he was really good again. His work rate, his tenacity, he just offers everything, doesn't he? I mean, again, play him through the middle of the pitch. I mean, it's absolutely criminal that we've used him out wide this season, and I'll continue to bang that drum because we probably could have so many more points if we just used him and kind of given him a bit of a free role to glide through the middle of the pitch as he wants to. And I think it's worth mentioning as well that I think his set pieces have looked loads better. I know he's had some really harsh criticism for that. Let's face it, we're never going to have anyone that's whipping them in like James Ward-Prowse. And dare I say, when we play West Ham at home and he causes all sorts of problems with that, we'll probably have to read article after article again on how we need a James Ward-Prowse. We should have signed James Ward-Prowse to take set pieces. I mean, come on, he's the best in the world at him. You're not gonna be that good. The challenge is getting them good enough to create chances and score goals from them. And I think just lately we have looked a lot more dangerous, and it's clearly something that Gibbs-White's worked on. If Gibbs-White could kind of tell Matt Turner what he's been doing to kick a ball a little bit better, it'd be better for everyone, wouldn't it? Because it's clear to me that that is actually something that he's worked on the training ground. And I don't know. We have got a set piece coach now, haven't we? Because I think he's stayed. So that's probably something he's been working on. But we just do seem a lot more dangerous from them. I don't know if it's because he started by getting the big criticism of him was that everyone was going to the near post, wasn't it? So now they just look a lot more probing. We're getting players into the box. I think both teams, when they were taking set pieces yesterday, were just packing the 6-yard box, weren't they? I don't know if last year's game where we didn't get a penalty because it was a too crowded penalty area was ringing in their ears. But yeah, he was excellent again. I like I say, I can't speak highly enough of him.
Yeah, the old congestion excuse, which is, funny enough, never been used before or after since. I wonder
No.
what team that could have possibly benefited. Anyway, Reiss, I'm going to give you, lucky enough, and very coincidentally, Moussa Niakhate. So, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed this, didn't we, amongst ourselves? I know Lee was talking about this a while ago, but when he was playing on the right with him being left-footed, I mean, he's absolutely superb in that Villa game. And then it kind of was he was very shaky. I think it was the Bournemouth game, wasn't it, when he just kept bombing it out to play on his right foot, and we was all like, can he play that side? Last night for me was man of the match, and there was quite a few contenders. To be fair, I'm not going to argue if people disagree with that because there was quite a few. I just thought it was literally, as I put in my tweet, just the art of defending. There's a few instances where, and this is no detriment to, I think, Williams and Montiel, where they went to ground and to make tackles. He just stood up and he just timed so many tackles to perfection. I really do like Niakhate. He just seems a leader to me. He's probably one of the only few players we've got where you think he's vocal. I mean, I'm not sure if people would have seen, but I think it was a Newcastle game in the huddle when Amazon show you was barking out orders. You can just see he's a bit of a leader. He was captain at Mines, wasn't he? That seems to have gone by the wayside with some in the media. But I like Niakhate. I thought he was absolutely superb last night. And when he's on top of his game, he's a really good defender, him and Murillo. And I think that would probably be a two, wouldn't it? I know I'm a massive fan of Felipe as well, but it's just with Felipe, he can't seem to stay fit, can he? And then there's probably, Willy Boll is pretty solid, but then there's probably, in terms of consistency, probably a bit of a gap then with his other centre-backs. He was fantastic, Niakhate, and he'll be a miss, because he's going, with the AFCON with Senegal. So I'm looking forward to watching a few of our players in the AFCON. It'll be a change. I'll probably dip in to a couple of games and have a watch. But he was my man of the match last night. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
No, he was great. It was one of many tackles on Garnacho, but he just stood so strong. Went straight, took the ball and took him as well. It was such a good tackle. It was like,
it was one where Montiel had dived in, and that's probably the only negative about Montiel. He can sometimes dive in, and I think Garnacho took it round him as he dived in, and then Niakhate, it was kind of a 60-40 in Garnacho's favour because he'd overdone the touch a little tiny bit. But if Niakhate would have gone in, he would have probably nicked it round him. And Niakhate just waited and he timed the tackle to perfection. Brilliant defender.
Brilliant. Yeah, and like you sort of touched upon there, it was staggering to think that in that aftermath, that Luton debacle, that there was a open report implying that he wasn't a leader and a certain walkout captain was. But we'll move on. As you can tell, I'm clearly not annoyed at a certain person's actions, but it's all right.
Move on from it now.
Adam, it would be very mean of me to give you Matt Turner, but we've already discussed that. So I'm going to give you Anthony Elanga instead, because I'm much nicer like that. And who made it 10 goal involvements for the season, obviously with his 6th assist, which is double what Johnson got last season. And for those who say that, we've struggled to replace Brennan Johnson, it's fair to say that we've done that pretty well for a fraction of the price.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the bumper player performance section here, Christian. 2 for everyone. I thought Elanga, I think he struggled in terms of like getting round either Wan-Bissaka or Dalot. They're both very, very pacey. I think we struggled to actually get down the flanks of Man United here and there. But I thought what I do like about Anthony Elanga, which I disliked about Brennan Johnson, was his willingness to just keep going and keep trying. I just think he's got so much determination. And obviously yesterday meant so much to him. I don't know if you've seen the interview where on another, I'm not sure what outlet it is, but Stephen Warnock's interviewing him and he said like, well, I'd get 5-10 minutes and I wouldn't play for 10 games. And he could never get a run of form. He's obviously he's pushed for that move to come to Forest, and he's played regular football, and we've reaped the rewards from it. Yes, he can be very, very frustrating, but he's got such raw ability in that, and something that you can't teach, which is having pace. If we can kind of nurture that into more things. I mean, luckily he got his head up yesterday for the Gibbs-White assists, and then you seen it after the final whistle when, if you see the close-up, he looks like he's in absolute tears with Nuno Espirito Santo. He looks like he's just crying, but it's just obviously so emotional for him. And then I don't know if people seen when he walked off the pitch past that Brian Clough, you'd have seen it, Lee, obviously at Trent End, but he's pointing to the Forest badge. He's really enjoying his time here. So, yeah, keep going, Anthony. I think there's more to come. 10 goal involvements in half a season is bloody good going. So if he can double that, 20, Man United will be going, why have we spent 90 million on Anthony when we had this kid? Do you know what I mean? So fair play to the kid.
No, he's done so well. It's just been good to see. Reiss, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, can I just add, he must be looking at Anthony, who cost, what was it, 80-90 million, and thinking, how the hell is he getting in the side ahead of me?
We got dragged off, didn't he?
Yeah, because he offered absolutely nothing at all. Nothing at all.
I mean, at one incident where he was sort of crowded by Ina, he sort of had a chance to take him on, turned round, faced Brian Clough, and ended up just walking it out of play. I mean, it was like when you leave your controller on FIFA, it just does what he wants and just walks off. It was like that. It was ridiculous. Like £85 million.
I know he had a frustrating night, Garnacho, but at least he was trying, and he was like, every time he ran it, as you think, he could cause problems here. I mean, Anthony, he offered absolutely nothing at all, did he? I don't get United, because you listen to the media, because it's all about Man United, the biggest club in the country. They're always on the media. They're bad news for Man United sells so much. And I just don't get like some of United, like Andy Goldstein's terrible for this on TalkSport. He'll like defend like Ten Hag and Anthony, like, and it's like I'm watching him like, what? I just like we say, we're like, it's always the Glazers' fault. Well, Ten Hag's tactics brought on McTominay second half, and the midfield's completely wide open. It happened earlier on in the season as well when they had Casemiro as a CDM. They had so much space, and teams are going to exploit it. But it's Man United's fault, and you can't give any praise to us because we've still got to take advantage of it. And yeah, United, there's such. Like for all us growing up, it was so sweet last night, wasn't it? Because we grew up in the era of everyone being a Man U fan. They were the best team, and you look at them now, and you get into a point of like where it's like sympathy for like how bad they are. Because look,
there's no sympathy for me, no sympathy whatsoever.
But you're kind of like laughing at like how bad they are because look at all the world class players. They haven't even got one world class player now. I mean, they're so poor.
I think they probably do, but it's more the manager issue, I think. I just find it incredibly baffling how he's still there. He's lost 14 out of 28 games now this season. And this doesn't take anything away from us. We deserved that win last night. We earned it. It wasn't because they were bad, because we were good. But equally, though, they're in trouble and good.
We've always said, haven't we, on this pod, if you outwork teams at this level, this is going back to the Everton game against us at ours. If you outwork teams at this level, you usually get your just rewards. And that's what I thought we did. I thought we just outworked Man United last night. And in the end, we took advantage with 2 well-worked goals.
Just
Definitely.
on Elanga, if I can just chip in on Elanga as well, I think there's certain people out there, we've all seen him, and I don't need to mention names, who love to bash the football club. They love to bash the owners. They love to bash the recruitment. I think what's not helped is that there was a publication that said we wanted to try and be like Brighton. Well, if you look at what we did with Elanga, we're not a million miles away. We sold Brennan Johnson for £50 million. And this isn't me comparing and doing what I said we didn't have to do, bash someone else for the sake of praising someone else. But Brennan Johnson doesn't play for us anymore, so it's kind of topical. We sold him for 50 and we signed Elanga for 15. I'll die on this hill, but I think Elanga will be a better footballer than Brennan Johnson. He'll be a better player for us than Brennan Johnson. I genuinely think he will. 10 goal contributions already. 9, 10, whatever it is. I think it's 10 now, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's his head.
10,
Just
yeah.
did 4 goals, assists. Yeah.
And we've just had Christmas. We're not even in 20. We're just halfway through the season. I mean, I genuinely think that's a good nod towards wanting to be like Brighton. You're not going to get everything right. Brighton don't get everything right, but that is a good step in the right direction and a good starting point, I think.
Just for context as well, I believe last season there was 2 players who got double assists and goals, and I think that was Saka and Salah, and they was the only 2. So I mean, if he obviously chips in with a few more goals, he's on course to do that. I mean, Saka and Salah are 3-figure million players, aren't they? Let's be honest.
That's it.
So yeah.
I just think he's better for what we need. What a club like Forest needs is someone that's going to run themselves into the ground for 90 minutes at both ends of the pitch. And I just think, like, again, I loved Brennan Johnson. I thought he was quality for us, but he wasn't always interested when we were going backwards. It's one of them. He was just one of them sort of players. He was much more effective at the top end of the pitch, and he came alive when we were at the top end of the pitch. But I just think Elanga just offers that little bit more as an all-round player. Now, he needs to work on his end product still, but at the same time, we're still beating that drum, and he's got 10 goal contributions. So when he does work on it and gets it right, he's going to be some player.
Definitely, it's very exciting. I'm very glad that my skepticism of him has sort of been very quickly dispelled, and that of Nuno for that matter. Albeit it's only been 3 games, but it's certainly looking like I'm very wrong on both and good. I'd rather be proved wrong on those and prove right. But no, I think I saw Ralph Rangnick's interview popped up after they beat Atletico Madrid in the European Cup, and obviously he spoke praise Elanga, a 19-year-old Elanga for scoring a winner. And it makes you wonder with Ten Hag really, like, why has he bombed him out? It makes you like look at Jadon Sancho, for example, obviously downing tools and like refusing to apologise to him. If he's going to pick Anthony over both of those, I can kind of see why. Like, as bad as that is to say, but again, that's their problem. And yeah,
it was something I said in the summer where the lad just needed clearly a run of games. You're getting dribs and drabs. Like, we've had players with us who've had that and they've been wrote off, haven't they? They've had 10 minutes here and there. They haven't done it. Oh, he's not good enough. But you've got to give players time to impress. And you look at Elanga, he's had a pretty solid run in the team. And sometimes he is frustrating. You know, the pass at Newcastle being one example, but he's still young. He's still quite raw. But you know, with his contribution, what he's offered so far, you can't grumble at that. And to be honest, I didn't see him as a replacement for Johnson. I mean, we signed him before we sold Johnson, really, didn't we? And to be honest, the comparison with Johnson's kind of, our fans are sentimental, we all are to a degree, but the comparisons with Johnson's kind of got to go by the wayside. He's no longer our player anymore. We've got to move on. You know, you'll naturally
get it because he's playing in the same position that Johnson is.
And also, to be fair, I feel like we probably signed Elanga in mind of selling Johnson that summer in hindsight.
Probably, yeah. But, you know, we've kind of got to move on and support, you know, like there was more chance for when Brennan Johnson come back than we've heard for some of his own players. You know, you've got to kind of move on and, you know, start supporting the lads who are here now because, you know, we've clearly got a decent squad of players, and it's not about like just because someone else has come in last night means you have to beat somebody else down. We've got a decent squad, and you know there'll be times when they all play the part, hopefully, and we can start to try and get more behind them now because they're actually showing us something back. Which for the last period under Steve, unfortunately, some of the performances were a farce. Let's be honest.
No, they were. There's no way getting around it. And there's a lot of hope this upturn continues because it's quite a nice thing for us. Like, okay, we're only 5 points off the drop zone still, haven't played a game next year. It's a little bit concerned still, but it's just nice. Like, you know, we're above Brentford now. We're only a point behind.
Yeah, we dragged some more into it, haven't we?
Exactly. You know, we've got Brentford next as well, which is, you know, if we can get something there, then suddenly, you know, we really are in a much more comfortable position. We can breathe a bit easier. We can really look forward to what Nuno can bring to the club. So, but obviously before that, we do have an FA Cup game against Blackpool. Obviously, very synonymous with a playoff heartache and also a 2-0 win last season as we got promoted to the season before. They also have Jordan Rhodes, which is less than ideal given his prolific exploits at his City ground, including not scoring for 9 months, then scoring a hat-trick, including topped off by an overhead kick the last time with Sheffield Wednesday. Deary me. But anyway, Blackpool at home preview, Lee. What do you reckon? I guess what team do you want to see? Do you want to see us like really go for it? Bear in mind there's a 2-week gap. Do you want to see us sort of maybe experiment with a few different players? Like, what's your sort of take on this?
I don't think we should experiment too much. I think winning games of football is something that we've not done a lot of, other than the last 4 days, obviously. But I don't actually look at the squad and think we can. I think it's no secret that Nuno's probably not going to be dipping into the academy anytime soon. It's not a secret that he didn't do that much at Wolves. I don't think, given that he keeps moaning about the size of the squad already, not moaning, but he's mentioned the size of the squad being too big, hasn't he? So I think he'll want to take a look at some of the players who've perhaps not featured in his 3 games in charge. But even then, you're going to be looking at Vlachodimos in goal. Williams might play. Toffolo might get a game. They're players who have featured quite heavily this season. So I don't think, whilst it'll look a little bit experimental, I don't expect Gibbs-White to start, for example. I think someone else will get a go in there. But I still think it'll be pretty strong. And I think, I think we'll just want to, he'll want to keep winning games. He'll see it that we've not had many wins this season. He'll see it that winning kind of breeds confidence. And I don't think he'll want to then sit for, 2 weeks after then, on the back of a cup exit at home to a League One side. I think that would set us back a little bit. So yeah, whilst I think it'll be experimental, I think it'll still be a very strong team, and I do think we'll win. Blackpool are doing well this season, aren't they? But again, they're in League One, so I will go for a 3-1 victory.
Nice. I mean, you think they're going to, I suppose, they're going to score Rhodes inevitably, but. No, I think you're right. I feel inclined to agree as well. I should probably point out, by the way, so thank you to everyone who's checked in. Obviously, we had a peak of 110, but 170 right now. It's been interesting seeing some of your comments pop through. Obviously, one from Jackie saying, "Can't believe don't miss Taiwo. When he comes back, we're going to be a problem," which is very true. And it's interesting. I mean, obviously, Jay Donk's pointing out Origi here, for example. I won't be surprised to see Origi play against Blackpool either. So it could, obviously, next we've got a week to play for the game, and it's interesting, Reiss. I think I kind of agree with Lee. I think he might be an experimental sort of side as such, but also looks quite orthodox given.
Yeah, we've got to bear in mind now we're looking at obviously players going to the AFCON, aren't we? So, for example, Niakhate would come out last night. Aina would come out. I mean, your wing backs are pretty simple, and your goalkeeper swap's pretty simple. Centre half wise, you're probably looking at your favourite player coming back in, Christian. We've got obviously Amabadadeli, but chucking him in when he's not played all season, is that a bit of a risk? You're then looking like into centre midfield, you've still got obviously the bulk of them there, aren't you, really? Gibbs-White hobbled off, so I'm sure, I don't think he'd be risk. And then if Origi went on the bench, so I'm not sure if he's got a slight injury or anything, I think he would have an injury because there was no real striker on the bench. So I'd probably expect maybe half a dozen changes, something like that. And it's and I totally agree with Lee. You do not want to be losing to a League One side. I mean, I was really disappointed by the reaction last season when we lost there, when the performance was an absolute joke again, and people just tossed it off. Who were sat at home on their armchairs while 3,000 fans had travelled and been served up that. I love the cup competitions. And it was the same as when we went out of Burnley. People just tossed it to one side when we got to the semi-finals of the League Cup last year. It was absolutely brilliant and one of the best parts of last season. And we were selling out ground. And I'm sure all these people who'd have been tossing it off in the early rounds would have been the first in the queue to get the tickets for Wembley had we got there. So I want to win the game. You don't really want to be losing to a side in the third tier, especially at home. And because that would set us back within 2 weeks. We've got a really big game at Brentford who are ropey at the minute. So you just want to keep winning games. You just want to keep getting momentum, getting confidence. And if it's a tie, I fully expect to win with, not really many scares. I know they've got Jordan Rhodes, but bloody hell, we're not in the Championship anymore, are we? So, yeah, I think it'll probably be, like I say, a bit of a mix of continuity and, I won't say fringe players, but squad players who've been in and around the team coming in. As you said, Christian gives Nuno a chance to look at a few players. And I fully expect us to progress. And it's a tournament I want to go far in. Let's have another cup run. If we get to semi-finals, it's a trip to Wembley, isn't it, in this competition? So, yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Forest. I think that will do for me. Clean sheet. That'd be nice.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I think that's been a fair while since we had one as well. Adam, what about you?
I'd love to see Christina's lad get a go. Why not? Get him in. Because I feel like he's someone that could play in the 10 for Gibbs-White, who I do think needs a rest. It'd be nice. It's nice for Nuno to actually have a week worth of training with the team, actually. So that would be nice. I think it's like everyone's mentioned already, chance to see some different players, give everyone a go. But yeah, I'm with Reiss, like winning mentality. Let's keep that going, and yeah, let's stuff Blackpool. It'd be nice to stuff a team, wouldn't it? Like, let's beat them 3 or 4-0. It'd be great. Jordan Rhodes has never played Murillo. I don't think Murillo will actually play. I think he might give Bamidele and Worrell a go, but I'm not sure. So we'll see. And yeah, why not? Let's have a cup run, because I think it just gives everyone something to look forward to. Because if the league form can continue, we will get to mid-table where we'd have liked to have been anyway. So a cup run kind of keeps the excitement coming as well. So I'm leaning towards that. Yeah, 3-0 I'm going to go for, I think. Yeah, Origi to score.
Nice. No, I'm very much up for the cup match. You guys, I want to see Bamidele play. I want to see Vlach in goal. I would like to see Toffolo and Williams play, because I think even then that's not a bad thing. They've both been pretty ever present this season, especially
Or
in
even
recent
Tavares, maybe.
Yeah, maybe unless he gets recalled, of course, because he obviously goes to the Prem team and they're in the cup still. It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
I like to see deadlock play. Yeah, I think I'm intrigued to see the midfield as well. Especially, I think Mangala might get a start again, which would be good. I imagine Yates will probably play again. Yeah, it'd be interesting what it does with the wings as well. So we don't have much options there. So you still won't be Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. So I think, yeah, there might be 4 or 5 changes, nothing too drastic, and the people who do come in won't be like unexpected. Like you said, I can't imagine like we call up Abbott or anything like that from the youth system. But I never know. We'll see. But yeah, I like to think that we'll win that game 2-0 and hopefully have a 4th round draw to look forward to. That's what it's about. It's about progression. I don't care who we get. Just want to win. That's it. So, but anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Obviously, I think we've had a peak of about 115, which is pretty mad for New Year's Eve. We should be all getting ready to go out and get drunk and stuff. So much appreciated you coming on. But I just, before we wrap up, let's say, last night, I think for all those fans, like Reiss touched upon earlier, all those fans who had to deal with plastic Manx, who don't even know where Manchester is on a map, have never been to Old Trafford, told you when you're at school that, oh, why you support such a terrible team, all come from London, or in the southeast in my case, Peckham Reds FC. That was for you last night. You all deserve that. Oh, what a win. What a win.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2024 with a Blackpool review. And up until then, come on, you Reds. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your week. See you then.